In the darkest days of World War I, when nations crumbled and kings hid behind walls of safety, one royal family stood shoulder to shoulder with their people. The Belgian king led from the front lines, the queen became a battlefield nurse, and their 14-year-old son fought beside common soldiers. Before we step into this extraordinary story of courage, honor, and family, take a moment to subscribe. If you believe leadership means standing with your people, not above them, then this story will move you deeply. Let's uncover how a small royal family became the heartbeat of an entire nation. When the Great War erupted in 1914, the world was unprepared for the scale of destruction that was about to unfold. Germany's armies marched toward France, and tiny Belgium stood directly in their path. The German command sent an ultimatum: let the troops pass peacefully. But King Albert I of Belgium refused. His reply was calm but unshakable: Belgium is a nation, not a road. In that single sentence, Albert I turned Belgium into a symbol of courage. He could have stayed behind palace walls, but he didn't. The king put on a soldier's uniform, took command of his army, and led his men to the front lines. He didn't just issue orders, he shared their hardships. He slept in muddy trenches, ate the same food, and rode through shellfire to inspect the lines. The Belgian army was small, vastly outnumbered by the German forces. But their resistance slowed the invaders long enough for the Allies to regroup. It was the Battle of the Yser, a desperate, bloody defense that saved Western Europe from collapse. Soldiers began calling Albert the Night King. Even his enemies admired his defiance. While the king fought, the queen served. Elisabeth of Belgium could have fled to safety. She was born into luxury, a duchess from Bavaria. But when she saw her country bleed, she traded royal gowns for a nurse's uniform. In hospitals near the front, Queen Elisabeth cleaned wounds, bandaged soldiers, and comforted the dying. Many wounded men didn't even realize the gentle nurse helping them was their queen. Her presence lifted spirits when medicine could not. She founded field hospitals, brought in doctors from abroad, and even helped introduce the new X-ray technology to save lives. To the men, she wasn't a distant monarch. She was a mother figure in white. They said, if the queen can stand with us, then Belgium still stands. And then there was the boy. Crown Prince Leopold was only 13 when the war began. Too young to fight, too proud to hide. He begged his father to let him serve. By the time he turned 14, he was training with the Belgian army. He lived in the same camps, endured the cold, carried supplies, and learned the duties of a soldier. The troops treated him as one of their own, calling him simply Leo. He wasn't kept apart by privilege. He shared their meals, their fears, and their hope that Belgium would rise again. He became a living symbol of the nation's future, a child growing into courage amid the ruins of war. King Albert's leadership was more than military. It was moral. He led by example. He was often seen walking unannounced into trenches, checking on soldiers personally. He didn't wear medals or parade armor, only the same khaki as everyone else. One soldier wrote in his diary, "When the king stands beside you, you forget your fear. You feel taller." Foreign leaders noticed. The British Prime Minister called Albert the one true hero among kings. Even the German Kaiser, his enemy, grudgingly called him the stubborn little king. Albert's strength gave his people courage. Despite the brutal occupation, Belgian civilians resisted in their own ways, hiding food, aiding refugees, and running underground newspapers. The royal family's example inspired an entire nation to endure the unendurable. When the war finally ended in 1918, Belgium lay in ruins. Cities burned, families shattered. But when King Albert returned to Brussels, he didn't ride in a golden carriage. He came on horseback through streets filled with exhausted, cheering people. His words were humble and full of heart. "You have suffered, but you have not fallen. Belgium lives." That day, tears ran down faces hardened by war. The people knew their king had never abandoned them. He had stood with them from the first shot to the last. Queen Elisabeth continued to work in hospitals long after the guns fell silent. She received international honors for her service but refused to take credit. "I only did what any mother would do," she said. Prince Leopold grew up to become King Leopold III. The lessons he learned as a boy soldier, humility, endurance, and empathy, shaped his reign. He never forgot those who had shared the trenches with him. The story of Belgium's royal family is not just history. It's a reminder. In an age when power often hides behind distance, they showed what real leadership looks like. It's not about crowns or titles. It's about standing in the cold with your people, sharing their burdens, and leading by example. King Albert's courage, Queen Elisabeth's compassion, and young Leopold's loyalty became the pillars of a wounded nation's recovery. Together they proved that leadership is not about command. It's about care. Even today, Belgium remembers. Statues of King Albert stand tall, not as monuments of monarchy but as symbols of resilience. Hospitals still bear Queen Elisabeth's name, continuing her mission of healing. In schools, Belgian children learn about the king soldier, the nurse queen, and the boy prince, not as fairy tales, but as living proof that courage comes in many forms. Their story speaks to something timeless, that even in war, humanity can shine, that even in chaos, love can lead, that even when everything falls apart, character holds it together. True strength, after all, doesn't come from the throne, and it comes from the heart. So, the next time someone tells you leadership is about power, remember Belgium's royal family, the king who fought, the queen who healed, and the boy who served. Because in the end, the greatest victory is not winning a war. It's keeping your humanity alive through it.